Okay, secant, cosecant, and cotangent, I think they look pretty intimidating when you first look at them. But secant of some angle theta, it's just the reciprocal. It's just the flip version of one. It's the flip version of cosine, I should say. They're reciprocals. Cosecant's reciprocal is sine, so it just means you need to flip the fraction. And then tangent is a reciprocal of cotangent. So if you're trying to find out cotangent, find out what tangent is, and then just flip the fraction. So it's similar to the work you've probably done before. What is the value of cotangent if the terminal side of angle theta intersects the unit circle, okay, at x equals 15 over 23 pi, and it says the first quadrant. So that means it's somewhere like this, where the x coordinate is 15 over 23. So I don't know the y coordinate. Oops, it should intersect right here. But I do know that it's in the unit circle, so the hypotenuse is 1. So we could use a squared plus b squared equals c squared to find out that missing side. So a squared plus that b squared that we don't know equals c squared. It's going to be kind of big. 15 times 225. Should have that memorized, shouldn't I? Doing it every day of my life. 529. And then 1 squared is 1. So b squared is going to be 1 subtracted by b squared. Oh, sorry. We're subtracting 225 over 529 from both sides. So b squared is going to equal, now if you get common denominators there, that's 529 over 529. That's what we transfer 1 into. So that's 304 over 529. But to simplify that fraction a bit more, b squared is going to be the square root of 304 divided by the square root. Oh, sorry. B is going to be, I'm taking the square root of both sides. And so that simplifies to be square root of 529 was 23 that we saw. And the square root of 304, I'm sure that doesn't come out nice. Doesn't. 304, can we simplify? Uh-oh. We can. Here, I'm going to write this over here. The missing side we found is the square root of 304 over the square root of 529, which is 23. You can simplify the square root of 304, though. You can factor out a square root of 16. Okay, that's what I just did with my calculator here. If you take the number 304 and divide it by 19, 19 times 16 makes 304. And the reason I pulled out a 16 was because I know the square root of 16. So there's a simplified version of that opposite side length. So Pythagorean theorem, just some fraction arithmetic that gets a little complicated in there. We're supposed to find cotangent. So what you can do is you can find tangent if you want. Tangent is the opposite, 4 square roots of 19 over 23, divided by the adjacent, which is 15 over 23, right? Thinking about this angle, this is the opposite, 4 square roots of 19 over 23, and then this is the adjacent. And then you could flip and multiply. I'll let you do that off to the side. When you flip and multiply, the square root of 23's cancel. So there's our final answer. Or you could use the definition of cotangent. Cotangent is the adjacent over opposite. So if you just do that in reverse, you're going to get the right answer too. So that's the adjacent divided by the opposite. Flip and multiply, right? That'll be the same thing as if you flip this fraction. Let's see here. Cotangent we know is going to be the reciprocal. It's going to be 15 over 4 square roots of 19. We could rationalize the denominator there. Let's see if it accepts this answer though. So I'm going to go into Newton. 15 over 4 square roots of 19. Square roots of 19. Let's see if it wants us to rationalize. No, it accepts that. Okay. Oh, they even left it as square root of 34. I went a little further than they did. Okay, so when you do these problems with secant, cosecant, tangent, it's the same type of thing. Just use those definitions I talked about at the beginning of the video.